Welcome, DINA-DAYAL.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada obeisances to all of you. I was not quite sure, am I able to speak or am I audible there? But it looks like it works fine.
Your video, your audio is very fine, Prabhuji. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. We had some leelas with the internet last few days, so hopefully it's not going to hit us now.
Thank you very much. Sadeh Prabhu, are you ready to take it over from here? Sadeh Prabhu. Sadeh Prabhu, are you there? Sorry. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to His confounder, Charity, His confounder, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to assembled devotees. So, once again, welcome DINA-DAYAL for accepting our humble invitation to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you for honoring the invitation.
Thank you, Prabhu, for inviting me. It's my privilege, honor, and definitely great achievement to be able to reach out to Vaishnavas and be with them even through this digital medium. So thank you.
Okay. So Sahadev Prabhu will take over the hosting. Normally we'll start with Srila Prabhupada's Jai Radha Madhav. And after Srila Prabhupada has chanted, then we can put the verse on the screen, then we can take it over from there. All right. So I'm going to play Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jai Amaspa Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sattvaresvara Samadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai Ramacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khund Radha Khund Giridhar Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तबिंद की जाए ऑल ग्लोरी टू द असम्बली ऑल ग्लोरी टू द असम्बली थैंक यू वेरी मच
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept a humble obeisances. All glory to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glory to our revered speaker for today, His Grace DINA-DAYAL Prabhu. And all glory to the Assembled Vaishnava devotees. Devotees, we thank you all for being here as always. And Prabhuji, we thank you for being here. It's been quite a long time since you last spoke here. So it's nice to have your wonderful association once again. Without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare. Jai. Om Gyana Timirantasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dear Vaishnavas, Hare Krishna and humble obeisances from Radha Deshdam to whole continent of Africa, and as far as I know, at least according to the post I saw from Giridhari Puja, it looks like whole Africa is able to access the sessions of your looks like bi-weekly lectures. I would suggest one thing, because it would be great if there is some conference where we can follow up the speakers, and then someone like me could be able to jump in and hear something from time to time. We are living in time of internet, which is strongly present in our life, and we can utilize it. For me personally, it's also this my educational background. Utilizing IT is wonderful because we can, on many ways, come to the divine truth much easier, which is privilege, also a little bit challenge than in previous times. So my realization is if we are able to utilize properly technology, it can really help in our Krishna consciousness. How? Well, just for instance, now we can associate and speak Srimad Bhagavatam and discuss Srimad Bhagavatam being thousands and thousands kilometers in distance, but doesn't matter. So that's such a privileged advantage. Also, in a few clicks, you can enter any kind of other class, recorded class, and listen. I don't know how many of you noticed, but there are so many centers in our society which are broadcasting daily lectures. And then for one particular verse, if you want to hear, you can get it from few different locations. It's just amazing what we can do. That's the plus side. In the same time, it can also be challenge. It can take us away, it can distract us, and definitely for being properly settled and organized and focused, we need help So scheduled activities, lecturing at a particular time, gathers together. It's something which can help us in terms that we keep discipline and properly nourish our Vaishnava Sangha. I don't want to say that Sangha can be replaced through digital medium, but it can be very helpful, and we should definitely find and respect that, because without that, who knows, we would be so stripped off so many so many wonderful presentations, lectures, and association. Although it's digital, it's still it's like a transcendental TV, which some of Kurukshetra people were able to observe. So the Vaishnavas for today, from Radha Deshdam, I'm able to, and I will try to say a few words about the verse which we are having. It's, in fact, as far as there are few verses for us today, from 13 till 15, and it's when I got the invitation for this presentation, I was thinking, what are the verses? Let me see what's there. Then I saw Mahavishnu, Karanadakoshai Vishnu. I said, okay, maybe it's not the most thrilling part of Srimad Bhagavatam, but it's for sure having its place, and it's important. It's super important also that we are aware of it. So what I'm going to do, I guess that would be the best procedure. How do we go in this interaction? I will go through the Sanskrit and I will read a translation of verse number 13, 14, and 15. That's something which I was getting as an input. Tasyarta sukshmai bhavistadrishter antargato artorajasataniyan gunena kalana guten avidha shushyastatvidyatanavideshat. The subtle subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed was agitated by the material mode of passion. And thus, the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen. What a fascinating verse. Verse number 14, next one. Sapada kosha sahasista kalena karma pratibhadanena svarachista tatsilina vishalam vidyotayan arka ivatmayonihi. Piercing through this sum total form of the fruitive activity of the living entities took the shape of the bud of a lotus flower generated from the personality of Vishnu, and by his supreme will it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. And verse number 15, which is having the purport. Taloka padmam sau eva vishnuhu pravishya sarva gunavabhasam tasmis svayam vedam yo vidhata svayam bhuvam yam sma vadati so abhut. Into that universal lotus flower, Lord Vishnu personally entered as the super soul. And when it was thus impregnated with all the modes of material nature, the personality of Vedic wisdom, whom we call the self-born, was generated. Swayambhuvam. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara Ki Jai. This lotus flower is the universal Virat form, or the gigantic form of the Lord in the material world. It becomes amalgamated in the personality of Godhead Vishnu, in his abdomen at the time of dissolution, and it becomes manifest at the time of creation. This is due to Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, who enters into each of the universes. In this form is the sum total of the fruitive activities of the living entities conditioned by material nature, and the first of them, namely Brahma, or the controller of the universe, is generated from this lotus flower. This firstborn living being, unlike all the others, has no material father, and thus he is called self-born or Swayambhu. He goes to sleep with Narayana at the time of devastation, and when there is another creation, he is born in this way. From this description, we have the conception of three: the gross Virat form, the subtle Hiranyagarbha, and the material creative force, Brahma. That ends up with verse number 15 and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Dear Vaishnavas, Hare Krishna. So for me, it was quite, as I said initially, quite challenge to speak and to think and to meditate upon this verse. So there is one trick always in any kind of lecture, is especially when we are reading and hearing Bhagavatam, we can ask ourselves, or we can ask our audience, what's really going on here? what's really the context? And that's sometimes the way how can we, or we can start to understand anything we are hearing or we are in. What does it mean? That means that sometimes we can observe the Shastra as a map. As a map, I see one of the devotees is driving. Most probably he doesn't need a map. But map means that we have to, particularly if we travel somewhere, or if we are on the road, road of life, we have to at least have particular perception. Where are we and where do we go? Where we are in overall in motion. If you don't know that, it's a little bit challenging. So we can be bewildered and we can be trapped in a particular situations which are not so important. We can maybe be stuck on a crossroads, not knowing that we should continue. And we can wait there for days, months, and years. So whole idea of the scripture, of the spiritual knowledge, as we heard also in even in the verse, is to give certain light, enlightenment, transcendental knowledge, meaning to be able to give us certain insight and perception. Where do we go? And that's pretty much relevant for this particular part of Bhagavata, which again discuss question of creation and where are we and who is doing what. And for some of us as Vaishnavas, or Gaudiya Vaishnava, will ask, where is Krishna and where is Balaram in the whole story? So, Krishna is here, Balaram is here, although in the same time they are submerged in their divine lila, they are playing. And what we are getting here in this context of verses, again, its interaction between Vidura, and question is in how the creation is going on, what's going on here, and how everything comes into the existence. And of course, as Prabhupada is closing the purport, it's about Brahma, first being who is created without father, Swayambhu. Prabhupada is without that kind of birth through father. And pretty much it's good reflection for us and mapping. When first being came, he also didn't know where to go and what's going on. And then he started to, and he heard the tapa, do the austerities, do tapa, and then you will get empowerment and understanding what is to be done. For us, meaning for devotees of Krishna, and for, let us put another term, spiritualists, this is extremely important to position ourselves and put us in a particular context. As I said a second ago, many times we are trapped in a particular situation and we take it for kind of eternal settlement. Either we enter in a certain turbulent situation in life, certain challenging interaction, or we are completely absorbed with a maybe challenging relationship, and then it sucks all of our energy. But with the Shastra, and we take it kind of, that's it, it's a dead end. There is nothing else to it. But when we get nourishment of Shastra and Vaishnavas, we get particular new dimension in life, which is super important, which give us value, which give us sense, which give us meaning and direction and perception. What I wanted to say, well, in this particular case, when we hear about Karanadakashaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, then we can understand, wow, which dimension is this? Then we can understand. And then we can take our position and kind of understand our world in which we operate, our interaction on a small planet Earth, which we are able to transgress through the digital media. But we can get inside that, well, okay, there is something much more to this. So this world I am in and perceiving it's wonderful, it's real, but there is much more to it. So it can help us in re-evaluating our position, our relationship with others, our knowledge, insight, and in general, spiritual realization. And based on that, it can give us certain peace of mind, clarity, sobriety, and understanding that challenges we are in, dimensions we are in, are maybe not so absolute. There is much more to it. And then we can also give certain flow to our life, and it can help us that we live better without fear, without deeper disturbances, because we can get inside, okay, there is much more to it. And ultimately, when we take all those 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, it helps us in that. Ultimately, everything is about Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, and everything leads to him. But in the same time, all those topics are there to help us, to reset us, and to give us particular dimension, understanding where do we stand, and where to go, how to go, and all those wonderful sages which are serving us as a role models and giving us insights. And that's the Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is about Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, but in the same time give us complete insight in spiritual world, giving us insight in all the Krishna's different roles, and then of course Krishna's avatars. And that way is giving us particular world view and understanding which we would not be able to grasp, neither understand on our own. Saying that, then we can, as an individual, we can be nourished by Bhagavatam as all those great sages were. And that way we can have and we can embrace the role and position which is ultimate role of position of first Bhagavatam protagonist, Parikshit Maharaj. And that way we can really get in a position that we can live our life and get the essence if we are serious in our interaction and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's quite fascinating, ultimately, as you could recall, that we sometimes think that stories of Srimad Bhagavatam and whatever we hear there, it's some kind of ancient time. It's maybe not so relevant for us, but on contrary, very contrary. Everything what we hear in Bhagavatam is very much livable, and we can get immediately reflection in our own life and understand, okay, that's the reality. But Bhagavatam is such a amazing teacher if you take it from that point of view. And it's very contemporary. It's just very up to date. What does it mean? Well, we can take, as I said, the initial opening of Srimad Bhagavatam. and I would say, at least for me, it's such a good, insightful moment. Everyone in this world, or except glorious souls who are not demanding something, everyone is into the position, if you can see now, worldwide scene, everyone is offended, everyone is looking for something, everyone is claiming, I need to get more and I didn't, and you are cheating me. And that was ultimately also the story of Srimad Bhagavatam in the beginning. King Parikshit was in a position, he said, I need respect, and I didn't get it from Shringi's father. And whole Bhagavatam ultimately, it becomes unwrapped in front of us just because of that. Someone like King Parikshit was lacking something. He didn't get that respect which he, king, was supposed to get from the person he encounters. In this particular case, Parikshit Maharaj he's our hero. He immediately realized, oh, I was coward. That's not the way how I should act. I was completely bewildered. But ultimately, it brings us to the position, it brings us to the sages of Naimisharanya and give us the very much insight. What's the real meaning of life? What is to be done? And what is to be inquired? And ultimately, sages in Naimisharanya, in fact, are setting up the framework for every single individual who is interested in self-realization and summum bonum, the essence, the totalitarian, the total of total. And that pretty much boils to two things. What's my duty as a human being, and especially what's duty of those who are supposed to die soon. And that comes to the position that we are all in that position. And then whole Bhagavatam is there. For which reason? To help us. But Bhagavatam is not like other Shastras are going to give us sutra, notes, Atatta Brahma Jigyasura as a Vedanta and so on. But Bhagavatam is engaging with the real person, with Krishna's dynasty. And then Bhagavatam is teaching us who did what and how things were happening for them. And based on that, Bhagavatam as an ideal teacher is ultimately what doing is a great educator, but not hurting us, or better said, not hurting our false ego. And that's beauty of our story. And then even then when we hear something which we can relate to, and it's having educative nourishment and substance, we will not be upset because it's not directly saying that to us, but it will say, look, Kashyapa Muni is there. Look, Narada Muni was doing this and encountered this. Look this. Look, there is a Vidura. And that way, we will look at Duryodhana. And that way we will get the essence of interaction, we will get the characters, the personalities from Bhagavatam without, and we will get also education, but through others. And if we are lucky enough, you will be able to grasp the meaning and essence and then keep it not only for this lifetime, but that's going to be our nourishment for the next lifetime, whatever it's going to be, and it's going to be for sure much better. So on that level, I would say that for me personally, reading Bhagavatam, and no matter where we are, it's always adventure. We, meaning we here in Radhadesh, at the moment we are in 87th, 8 something, one of few last chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam. And some people will say, that's the essence, let us go to that. But in the same time, there is no difference. Wherever we go in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's always giving us the nourishment, spiritual nourishment, which can help us, which can guide us, which can hint us and then which can definitely reset us and expand our consciousness. And that's very important without offending us. So let us just be real, and I think you will be able to relate to this. Sometimes, and I can remember in my devotional life or my Krishna consciousness, which started maybe when I was 21, when I started to regularly chant. At that time, I just give you example how we can be bewildered, which I was. We were attending one of the friends. I was 21 too. Friends' wedding, and we were already devotees. So there was one gentleman with us in a company. He was. We were just fresh Hare Krishnas. Imagine what level of our understanding and our realization, especially if you want to go in the direction of compassion. What's that? Young boys. And then I just remember we were kind of having a mental battle with one gentleman who was kind of Shivaist, but he's Shivaist as in where Krishna is at that time. But I was it was very kind of dynamic interaction with him. Neither he understand anything what we were trying to communicate, but most probably we were also completely bewildered. Neither we were convinced, neither realized anything. And then I was thinking, and that's kind of for me such a vivid example of sometimes how jivas could be trapped, although we are kind of on a spiritual path. But we can be completely bewildered in a particular word games and trying to convince someone in something not fully understanding on our own. And at that time, 30 something years, oh my God, 30, okay, not 30, almost 30 years ago, we were kind of just having, and we were kind of already a little bit versed with the philosophy we were understanding, we heard about, and we were at that time, I can very vividly remember at the table, we were speaking about Vishnu and Karanadakashaya Vishnu. We learned that Karanadakashaya, Garbhodakashaya, Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, and we were trying to explain certain terms which were for us very, very abstract, but we heard them and we repeat them. And that boy was speaking about Shiva and Shiva's position. And I was thinking, of course, it was supposed to happen like that. Neither we profit anything on that level, neither we were bringing that person closer to Krishna or to understanding or particular openness, neither we were able to capture any kind of compassion, how to connect someone else to Krishna. And that was big lesson for us, or at least for me, I can say, because if we don't have that understanding, oh, how can we come closer to Krishna and understand each other on our pathway? That would be great. Because in one sense, we are all many times faced with the Karanadakashaya Vishnu and Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, and we know that by the terms, but it's such a complex, such a deep, such a abstract knowledge that it's very difficult to relate to it in any kind of tangible way. And sometimes it becomes a problem. Why it becomes a problem? Because sometimes we can take the details and just some particular narrative and we can break our life on that without taking the essence and getting to extract what's really the essence which is on that map applicable for me. And if we strip it all, then we can understand, okay, this is so complex, so above me, and it's kind of okay, I can accept that I'm not having insight in such a positioning and understanding what does it mean, causal ocean, and what's meaning Garbhodakashaya ocean and so on. We know the terms, but we can understand, at least it can give a certain humility. We shouldn't be pretenders like we are completely familiar with it, but we can respectfully understand, okay, that's something which is happening in 311 trillion years, Mahavishnu is breathing, and then the whole universe is manifesting, and they are disillusioned and so on. And it's such a complex, such a deep, such a overwhelming understanding that even Brahma, first being, was not able to get it properly. He was completely bewildered. What's going on? So in our case, it can be helpful to keep us humble, which is wonderful. First element and first item of knowledge is humility. Once you, to a certain degree, understand how much you don't understand, you don't have realization, it's very helpful. It grounds us, it keeps us particular position, okay, and then we can learn. And we can be humble, and that's wonderful position because that's such a profound note of spirituality. And being in that position, then we can also exhibit certain humility, and we can assist others being instrument on that level. Otherwise, if we think that we know things and that that we are very familiar with it and that we realize that, then it's a definitely a big challenge. So we shouldn't allow that minor details in the philosophy or in the theology or in a cosmic order which is presented in Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't bring certain obstacles in relationship with others. Because we are pretty much similar position. We are conditioned soul, or majority of us are conditioned soul, and modes of nature are turning, and definitely we should understand that we should cultivate that understanding that we are not better than others in any regard, but we can have cultivation of understanding that we would like to get the mercy. And if we in our life find a way that minor things are not disturbing our relationship with others, then we can perform devotional service in a very profound, significant, and deep way. Always knowing what's needed, what's the meaningful, and what can I live even without understanding or without being in a fighting mood with others. That means particularly with certain philosophical points, with sometimes devotees are also trapped in, and as you can recall throughout the years, we many times have particular discussion or certain intense discussions about particular topics which might be not so relevant, but which can take so much energy unnecessary. And I would say here, maybe not so related with the Mahavishnu and Karanodakashaya Vishnu, but in general, sometimes we as a devotees are pulled in a particular discussion which is not going to give us any kind of resolute answer, but we might be offending each other. And what does it mean practically? Well, practically it can be silly things. I was witnessing personally sometimes a question of breaking the breakfast or breaking the ekadashi, taking the grains. It's kind of a point when we are fighting and storming each other for what? Or sometimes we are also having issue that because someone is Gaudiya, but maybe not Gaudiya completely in our lineage, then we are also having issue with that person, unnecessary. So better to think about Mahavishnu and understand, oh, there are so many things going on, so let me be humble and keep us, and let me, Krishna, help me in the essence that I'm able to perform my devotional service and assist others on that level, not to be trapped in some kind of enmity with others. Au contrary, as French people will say, au contraire. Just try to serve others and to keep that essence. And the essence of our philosophy, which is so brilliantly given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and even more by his direct disciples, Sad Goswamis, is, we should cultivate that jiva doi, humility towards the jiva, and that also includes us. So that's pretty much what I would be able to say, like ad hoc on this particular difficult set of verses, or challenging, which is very confronting about Mahavishnu. And I can also draw it to the contemporary present day, there are so many things we are not able to measure pratyaksha way, and we are able to live it. We live with it. So understanding complexity of creation, resolution, and Mahavishnu's, it's not something which is essentially fundamental for our spiritual growth, as it is not fundamentally essential for us to live and utilize our human body on planet Earth by not knowing many things around planet Earth. Just for your reference, as we are speaking about endless universes which are coming from Mahavishnu and Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, ultimately on our planet Earth, as most probably some of you know, but some of you don't know. Just if you if you go 11 kilometers in planet Earth, just 11 kilometers, that's the deepest hole in a planet Earth digged by human, because they were not able to go deeper. 11 kilometers is 0.00 something of 6,000 of something kilometer diameter of the planet Earth. Saying that, we can understand even in our immediate environment, we are pretty much theoretical and not realized, because we are not able to get it directly. So saying that, it's also some beauty in that. We can be humble, as I said before, and keep our eyes and heart, more importantly, open for the future interaction. But again, if we can keep up the mood of of humility and openness, and then that way we'll be able to always reset ourselves and have a proper perspective on that divine map, which is in many ways uncharted, but we are somewhere there. We can understand where we are, and we can continue to go with the help of the scriptures, with the help of Vaishnavas on that map. And that's the reason here we are. I would stop here, dear Vaishnavas. Thank you very much for this privilege to say a few words. This was just pretty much like a spontaneous on my own. And I would be more than happy to hear from you, to hear your comments, your questions, your challenges. And I'm more than happy to hear them. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sahadev Prabhu, I guess it goes back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, DINA-DAYAL Prabhu. Like you rightly said, there are many different subject matters and topics in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is not so easy, because it's dealing with creation and Garbhodakashaya Vishnu and Lord Brahma and things like that. Nevertheless, you spoke so wonderfully. And devotees, please, if you may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute.
I can tell, Sahadev Prabhu, I can tell one thing which comes to my mind is Krishna Kshetra Swami. He was the ISKCON minister of deity worship.
Yeah.
He said sometimes it was just overwhelming. Reason why he gave up that service. He said it was just, he was getting mad. Why? Because is that 30 seconds before or 30 seconds after you have to, and then devotees would be so adamant about that. He said, I just couldn't handle it anymore. It was just endless storm of this. So I guess, at least, he's our family Shiksha Guru. I admire Krishna Kshetra Maharaj so much. I learn from him, or trying to learn, how to have proper perspective, and what's important, and what can disturb our relationship, and what can nourish. And on that level, something I think it's relevant to share with you, and that's his insight and his position. Thank you.
Yeah. So true. Thank you so much. Yeah, His Holiness Krishna Kshetra Swami Maharaj is.
Ki Jai.
If I don't know how to describe it. He is like maybe a kid finding himself in a candy store, you know. Leave. Raj is so sweet, you know. He 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 is so knowledgeable, but when he begins to speak, he will speak as if to say like a baby, and then the knowledge starts pouring out. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, with him and from him at least I can say because we spend time together sometimes we
Yeah.
get his association, you know, he is not he's not having a problem to say, well, I don't know, maybe it can go this way, maybe it can go that way. And that's beauty of him. I really admire that. I said, well, that's the learned person,
Yeah.
wise. Yeah, thank you. Prabhus, ladies, we have number of you. I will be more than happy to discuss any other topic, or if you have, or you want to address, and you have to, or you want to challenge. Doesn't matter. Um, we are here together to kind of dig a little bit deeper together and help each other on that pathway.
Yeah, I was thinking of this title given to Lord Brahma as firstborn. And I was thinking to myself, uh, we human beings in the human uh, traditions also, we also refer to our first uh, child. Sometimes we say our first child, sometimes we say the firstborn. But according to Srila Prabhupada's purport, Lord Brahma is referred to as firstborn because he has no material father. Now, what do we call those who are also born without material father? For example, we have a personality like Srimati Radharani. She was born without material father, but I do not think there is anywhere in the scriptures where Srimati Radharani has been addressed as firstborn. So if you may expand a little bit as to why in the case of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and Lord Brahma is referred to as firstborn and probably not anyone else.
Thank you, Sakade Prabhu. Ultimately, I can tell you, if you read or you just dig into the Bhagavad Gita, and we can get some insight what does it mean to be now firstborn. And that means kind of quite a position and kind of entitlement. And as you know, one who is firstborn, at least traditionally in a family, that person inherits everything. He is the, or she, but he, or he, or she also, at least that was the, in a recent centuries in British kingdom. And then that person inherits everything. We can see Pandavas, how it was, and we can, this is kind of very interesting, and it comes to very interesting. On one sense, we are defined by the qualification. Before denomination and before birthright. Why? Because qualification is going to make doctor, not his position as a father, son. Interesting enough, whole tradition, Vedic tradition was dealing very clearly with the male offspring who are firstborn. And everything was so deeply rooted in that understanding. Where are you in that position? And I can say also a whole dispute between Pandavas, or between the Kurus, but then Pandavas and Kurus is and was based on position who is having the right to inherit officially the kingdom. And interesting enough, it happened, as we know, what was happening with Pandu. For me, that's kind of very, very strong indication and insight how family birth is having so deep, so profound effect on us. Even if you want, the way how Krishna deals with Arjuna. More than 100 times, Krishna is bringing family tradition, who is lineage of Arjuna, and Krishna said, you are bound to act according to that tradition. This, you are Bharata, and of course bring in or female also members, but he's always very clear that that bodily connection and blood connection is so important. And now coming back to Brahma. He is Swayambhu, unborn, but he is Aja, unborn. And in one sense, position of Brahma for us as Gaudiyas is much more defined when you take it in a Krishna Lila, and then you can see Brahma Vimohana Lila. So, despite being the smartest guy in the classroom in the universe, didn't help much Brahma to understand, to kind of question, completely be bewildered. Who is Krishna? And I will now teach that boy in that village. I will take the calves and I will bewilder them. So on that level, being or not being born, it doesn't make any kind of it doesn't make a difference, because you're subjugated to the bewilderment this or that way. But of course, we have to, and we are even officially part of Brahma Sampradaya, despite of Brahma's obnoxious position sometimes and behavior. And as I said initially, we Gaudiyas, and that's beauty, I would say, of our movement and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, doesn't pay, really, doesn't pay attention to the background, but to the quality. We are just looking to the essence. Essence is our heart, and you can have any kind of family background, who cares? That's not important for us. It's important only the qualification, your heart, and in one sense, in some traditional society, being born, especially in India, we know being born in a particular family brings certain destiny, and you cannot unglue yourself of it. Well, very, very rarely. But we can see the example of Srila Haridas Thakur. He was, for many of them, traditionally from untouchable background, but also Rupa Sanatana, they were contaminated. They were working and they were getting money and support from the unpure sources. So on that level, for us, and luckily by Gaudiya, deep realization and insight, we shouldn't be conditioned by the birth, neither this way, that way, in this body or that body. Of course, we can say certain guna and karma comes in. That's it. But in the same time, we can also understand that we are spirit soul. In this lifetime, we got this body, and of course, we utilize that in Krishna's service, in service of Vaishnavas. And then whatever comes next, we are ready for it. Aja and Aja. There is Sriman Varaha Prabhu who is raising his hand. Hopefully this is somehow meaningful, Sahadev Prabhu.
Yes, very much. Thank you. Shimbara Prabhu, please you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
I'm in a very noisy place because we are distributing food, and somehow I have to manage to speak. I hope the noise is not interfering too much. So, Prabhu, you mentioned about how, these different manifestations, Gabodogasai, Shodagasai, can be very much of a detail for many people who may not really understand. But for us that we think we understand, there are actually often certain things that is very silent in the scriptures, and we just kind of grapple with it or try to think that we understand. I give an example. Like we heard about the manifestation of Balaram, and Balaram manifested in Shatuvyuha, and then like that, the process of creation, continued. And then we also heard about Radharani being the manifestation of the Ladini energy, and she's also the source of the gopis, the Lakshmis, and the queens of Raja. But there is no particular time, at least up to my knowledge, where we heard about Radharani manifestation in the spiritual world. We often heard about her as energy, the energy ruling the spiritual world, Ladini or Sambit and Sandini. But at what point did Radha manifest in the spiritual world? I've not come across that. Maybe you can please tell us. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. So question is pretty much in the direction of why do we don't get insight scriptural in a position of Srimati Radharani and her relationship to this world. Am I correct? There was some noise behind, let us be frank, but I was at least grasping that part. If someone else is having additional elaboration, please.
Yeah, Prabhuji was asking, like, we can have scriptural references as to the manifestation of Sri Balaram, but we do not come across, at least him, the question is not come across anywhere in the scriptures at what point that Srimati Radharani manifested. So he's asking if, in case you know something about that.
I mean, yeah, please go on. Yes, Sri Varahamurti?
Varahacharya.
Varahacharya Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Well, thank you very much for your question. And ultimately, yes, Shrimati Radharani's position is definitely something which is, she has Krishna. So she is not revealed in a scripture, especially not in the Gaudiya scriptures in a way that she is prominent figure. She's always somewhere there, and her position is sacred to the extent that Srimad Bhagavatam is never going to officially even mention her name. And also we know how careful was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers in that relationship. So, but of course, there are some traditions, especially in India. You can draw particular tantras and certain scripture which are dealing with the Shrimati Radharani connection with Subhadra, with Mahadevi, and so on. Uh, I'm personally, but this is my very personal thing. This is so sacred and so deep, and I personally never felt any kind of inclination that I should now try to make any additional research. Prabhupada was very clear about that, and in a one sense, perfectly positioned theologically position of Shrimati Radharani. And initially, Prabhupada was also very much open, speaking about gopis and Rasalila. Then Prabhupada understand, this is not to be spoken in such a way. He made it in a particular way that it's an open secret, and devotees are, especially not devotees who are in lineage of Srila Prabhupada, we are not kind of making any big fuss about it. It's very dignified, decent. We don't even bring too much Balaram. What about Shrimati Radharani? Balaram, everything is Balaram. He is the man. But still, we are Hare Krishna. So we always protected with the Krishna Katha, which is our buffer for everything. And that's the reason, most probably, that we are called Hare Krishnas. And there are some groups who are Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. We are not into that, at least not as a Prabhupada followers. We are cultivating that relationship. And for sure, back to your question, for sure you will be able to find many elaborations and indications on position of Shrimati Radharani, especially in relationship to this world and her appearance. But I would say in one sense, I'm personally very happy and very satisfied that the way how Srila Prabhupada was giving his elaboration. In short, Sriman Varahacharya Prabhu. And there are sometimes, just in that connection, sometimes devotees are immature, and then they say, we didn't get it all, and so on. No, it's not the way. It's not the way. That's not the way how it goes. You got it all, but just you have to go through your education and your upliftment. So things are going to come in your place, in its place. Just be honest. Yeah.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. I would have loved to hear both of you speak French, but we will also be deprived of the Leela. So I'm happy Prabhu speaks French.
Ah.
Yeah.
Extraordinaire. I'm speaking a little bit French. I'm not so profoundly. We speak English here in the community. That's
Yeah.
our main. We are real ISKCON community. English.
Yeah. 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 Well, Srimad Acharya Prabhu's question, I ask questions a lot. And I remember I asked, I don't remember exactly who though, but I remember I asked one devotee a similar question to Srimad Acharya Prabhu's question. And the answer I got was that there is no such point in time where anybody can say that this is the time Srimati Radharani manifested from Krishna, because Srimati Radharani is always there. And it's just like Krishna has eternal two forms, Krishna and Radha. So just as we cannot tell when Krishna came into being or manifested, in the same way we cannot say or tell when Srimati Radharani manifested, because she is the same Krishna, is Krishna. But when it comes to making things happen, then Krishna expands to Balaram. And from there, everything starts from there. That is what I got, but I can't think of who said this. So I said, okay, let me share. But I was eager to hear if I would get like maybe affirmation to what I heard, or Prabhuji has something else. But I also appreciate your response to Prabhuji's question. Anyone else with something to ask or to share, please? But Prabhuji, if I may ask this question too. See, we all sleep. We go to sleep either at night or during the day. And when we go to sleep, we can choose when to wake up and when not to wake up. But when we die, we cannot dictate when to appear in a particular body or in a particular planet or whatever. So that to me is the difference between death and sleep. But in the case of Lord Brahma, Srila Prabhupada was explaining in the purport that when a Lord Brahma sleeps, he enters into the body of Narayan. And when he enters into the body of Narayan, he cannot decide when to wake up. He's locked up there. You see, so how do we then say that he went to sleep and not he died?
Well,
You get my human argument.
yeah, it is super relevant, ultimately. In one sense, we are very much aware there is nothing like that. There is nothing like that. We are eternal, so we are having this shell material body which we are using, and we drop it, and that drop on us, and then we move forward. So on that level, I would say someone like even Hiranyakashipu is excellent teacher because he gives the essence of everything. We are spiritual body, we are spirit ultimately, we are transcendental, and it's very bewildering because Bhagavad Gita is going to say to 29 Ashcharya Vat. It's very bewildering. It's amazing, amazing. Everything about soul, about who we really are, is amazing because that's Krishna. Our ultimate essence is part of Krishna identity, but we are minor. So on that level, we are eternal. And speaking about those moments when are not under control, well, we can take another position. Uh, we are like this of control of anything. Indeed, we got this body, and most of us have no clue at which point we were even becoming aware of our body, and ultimately the main challenges of existence, which is Bhagavatam addressing very nicely. And in the same time, every day we fall unconscious, not only throughout the night when we go to sleep, but also some of us few times a day are completely bewildered. So on that level, even the great Brahma, who is obviously the smartest kid in a classroom, he is often, and also his colleagues, starting with Lord Indra, very much confused from time to time, extremely confused what's going on, who they are, and anything else. But in the same time, sometimes we can say that's a Leela, which is perfectly nice elaboration, but at the same time, it's also reality. Meaning, no. Sometimes it's kind of we equalize being dead with being unconscious. But ultimately, you can also understand that many people who at least die briefly and left the body, they can say in that state you're much more conscious than you are while having this gross body, which you utilize as your own body. So from that point of view, being dead, it's a question to which extent that's the really deprivation of the consciousness. I would say, and some of us are having that experience that leaving this botheration of body, it also opens you and gives you so many more insights. So that's about what I can say about Lord Brahma and being dead or not and being awake. Yeah, we are super, 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 super conditioned, we can say, but in the same time, we can also understand that we are given life and so many things to utilize without our own direct supervision. Our body's digestion, heart, everything which is going on, we are not even remotely aware what's going on. And science, luckily, is also admitting good extent of it. And that makes you humble and appreciative, not in a primitive way, but really profoundly. You understand, wow, things are not depending on me, on myself. Sun is going to appear and the earth is going to rotate with me pushing the earth or not. So many things are going on in that way. So we are always depending on others, on higher authorities, on the nature, on our superiors or our seniors, and it's going to be always like that. So it should definitely bring us into a state of gratitude. And then sleeping or non sleeping, we can understand that we in life, in general, if we are honest, we are getting much more than we deserve, if we are honest. So sleeping, non sleeping, falling dead or not, we got our privilege and we got our mercy moments. And uh, we should, I would say, always cultivate that and being appreciative of that. Every moment what we are getting is a privilege to be able to consciously meditate on Supreme, starting with He is the closest associates, and those are the Vaishnavas. And if we cultivate that consciousness, then we are in a good way. Alive or dead.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. There are so many things we accept because we are devotees. But if we were not devotees, we're not going to accept. And therefore, it makes it a bit difficult to explain the same concept to non-devotees and expect them to accept it.
Yeah, that's excellent point. We don't expect them to you don't explain, you don't expect. Why? Because usually people or majority of people are never going to think about those things
Yeah.
because they are going to be trapped in a role of being a victim and they chase those who who inflict them with a particular pain,
Yeah.
mental, emotional, intellectual, physical. And that's the world we are living in. Rarely Gyanis are aware of it, they speculate, they philosophically ponder upon, but that's one in thousand. Majority of people are just driven by the immediate senses, what's priya and what's not priya.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So you hardly can only what can happen to people, as we know in Bhagavad Gita, if if they are miserable. Just 7:15 Bhagavad Gita, Arto Jigyasura Arti Jnani Cha Bharatarshaba. If they are miserable, profound, they will inquire and they will then be able and humble enough to accept answer and then realize I'm not the source of anything. And that way they will be definitely they will progress. And also those who are looking for the possessions, artha or jigyasur, gyanis, meaning inquisitive, they will definitely be in a position they will be recipient on divine grace. Problem is, as you know, those people, if they get something what they are looking for, then they will give up on the pursuit of search. Only those who are interested in Swayam Bhagavan, those who are spiritual seeker of the essence, and no matter what's going on in their life, rich, poor, happy, unhappy, they will go for that. They will conquer ultimately. They will win that conquest, but that's very individual. So we should endure on that level.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sahade Prabhu and other
No,
Vaishnavas. Always pleasure to be with you. And it was maybe last summertime when Giridhari Puja was arranging our call. And I'm personally very happy with being with you. And thank you very much for this privilege.
no, we are so grateful to have you as a associate, Prabhuji. Thank you so
And yes, thank you. I'm just getting in a office. My colleague, our neighbor, what's it, Nilam, right? Uh, what's his name? Ambika. Ambika is coming here to greet my friends from Africa. Look.
We do not see.
Yes, thank you, Sahade Prabhupada Vaishnavas. Thank you very much. We see
Yeah.
Sati and others.
Yeah.
Srila
Thank-
Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai, and Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki.
Dear devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace DINA-DAYAL PRABHU, for sharing love and wisdom with us today. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Praise DINA-DAYAL Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare. Hare